Hello again. We're reading part 3 of Days of Ragnarok, End of the Gods. I'm the author Tyler Woods, and this is my book. It is available on Amazon, but we're reading it during this quarantine time to try to help pass the days. I'm picking up on page 55. Sleeping in a bed that doesn't roll with the sea takes a bit of getting used to, doesn't it? My comment finds no response. Anna's spot beside me is empty and she isn't fixing her hair in the guest bathroom. Rita and Anna awoke with the sun and snuck off to create a breakfast to die for. Or from, if you aren't careful. Why Jim does not weigh 400 pounds is puzzling. Teamed with Anna, no hunger can survive. Ingredients from the refrigerator explain without words that quiche is on the menu. Anna cuts fresh fruit into a bowl as a complement dish and makes a yogurt sweet cream sauce to coat the fruit. Rita pours a thawed puree of purple fruit into a glass pitcher with sliced oranges and kiwi. The slight curious look on Anna's face triggers the few words Rita actually shares about this meal. With a smile, Rita simply says, "Cactus fruit and guava." Delighted, Anna smiles and gives a yum. That's all they speak regarding food this morning. They're both intuitive cooks and take cues from each other, just like sisters. But they do talk about other things, mostly camp and how life has changed. I have some things I would like to give you that will help you at camp, and I have a gift for you to give to Cynthia, if you wouldn't mind taking it to her for me. Rita, you've given me so much already. Your friendship and opening your home to us means more than you know. Rita takes Anna's hands, looking deeply into her eyes. It is no trouble for us. We enjoy having good company, and kindred spirits are a taste of heaven. We get so few visitors since the border has closed. At least we are far enough from it to be safe here. Jim learns of many bad things happening in the States from the radio. He doesn't tell me about it all, but I see in his eyes that it must be really bad. I'm glad for your mother that she is safe in Canada, and for Matt and Cynthia at camp, and that it is isolated. You will be safe there too. For now we are here, and you are here, and life is good. I think our quiche is ready. Let's have some food. Rita pulls Anna close for a quick hug, and they carry their creations to a receptive table. Kitchen aromas work better than an alarm clock, and conversation already active at the table stops, except for the oohs and ahs of a perfect meal. Anna holds a passion for cooking and enjoys serving great food. One of Anna's friends, of the more liberated persuasion, once commented that I had Anna barefoot and kitchen bound, to which Anna fired back that she was in the kitchen because she wanted to be, and if that ever changed, she would hire a cook. The look in Anna's green eyes, bracketed with red hair, conveyed the foolishness of crossing that little Viking. Her friend never offered opinions about cooking again. With the dishes washed and put away by grateful men, Jim joins us back at the table to provide updates and discuss options. My first question is, Jim, what have you heard about my folks? Are they okay? Jim is floored and apologetic for neglecting to tell me about my folks right away. Jason, I'm so sorry for not telling you. Your folks are fine. I completely missed how isolated you've been since this whole thing started. Your dad and I knew there would be what he called a fecal fan convergence. Following news of the collapse, the EMP was a surprise, but everything else has progressed according to typical social meltdown. Your dad and mom flew out of Houston with Rita and me and a few others that same day. We touched down at JF and unloaded a Ranger ATV, and your folks headed to camp with the others, while Rita and I came here. We keep radio contact 3 times a week. You'll be able to talk with them tonight. I don't know what I was thinking that I didn't tell you the details right away. Relief floods over me. I'm just glad to know they're okay. I got to tell you, when you didn't talk about them right off, I expected the worst, but in my heart, I still knew they were all right. I guess that's why Rita says you're spending nights on the radio. We keep good contact. Your folks have organized quite an operation up there. The camp is completely cut off from what's left of the country. The desert is lethal to cross on foot, except in winter. That's why the Border Patrol is light near Big Bend. We can get in there by plane, and I can get supplies from here in Mexico. By drawing from the corporate Mexican bank accounts your dad set up, accounts to keep some of the proceeds of jobs down here, so we could purchase future material and maintain the plane with pre-taxed money. I also do a little bartering for cargo services to some remote Mexican communities. Legit, I might add. I'm no drug runner. Jim has an understanding smile. I guess you three will be wanting to head to camp, and Jason, your folks will be very glad to see you. I have Pegasus already loaded with supplies they need up there, and a Polaris Diesel Ranger with extra fuel for you to get from JF to camp. JF is the designation of an obscure grass landing strip that is no longer listed on the charts. I've been running supplies there on several trips, but randomly rotate landings at other locations. This Ranger only has 2 seats, so one of you is going to have to ride ghetto, but it beats walking. Anna, there's an emergency med surge kit already there, but we're sending additional pharmaceuticals for stock. Another request was for a couple rolls of black poly pipe. It's light, so we can lash it to the roof of the Ranger. All we have to figure out now is when you want to leave. Scott speaks up. I got ghetto. We'll take turns, I reply. It sounds like there are more at camp than Mom and Dad. How many more? Jim has a proud sparkle in his eye as he says, they have nearly 50 now. Quite a little outpost from what I hear. 50? That place isn't built for that. How is Dad doing it? Jason, you won't recognize the camp from what your dad says. We've flown in materials and tools, and that group is handy. You know some of them. I'll let your dad give you the grand tour when you get there, but brace yourself to be highly impressed. By the way Jim talks of the camp, you would think it was his favorite son. Holy cramoly, Scott says. No doubt the place is big enough, but where do they all sleep? I mean, 1 cabin, a kitchen, work shed, and an outhouse. I wonder who's sleeping there. With a chuckle from all 3 of us, Anna responds, well, if I know your mom and dad, they have everything worked out and running like a clock. When do we go? Jim has everything organized. We need to get you back down to Intrepid. You'll want some things to take back with you, and she needs to be made ready for haul out. This is a good time to clean her bottom and check her lines and sail. The marina will start Monday after I get back from taking you to camp. My head is swimming laps around my heart. Dad taught me that a man can only deal with so much at one time, and trying to think about too many things opens the door to mistakes. The principle has saved my neck and career many times in the oil field. Dad used to tell me when you're up to your neck in alligators, it's hard to remember your objective was to drain the swamp. I guess we've had a few alligators to deal with lately. Everybody has to die someday, but I'm not ready to give up on my folks, and I'm glad I don't have to today. Dad has been my role model and hero all my life. I can't remember not wanting to be just like him. He teaches by example what a man should be and how that man should be tough when it counts, but tender-hearted otherwise. Dad knows how to read people and told me once that when a man acts tough all the time, he's trying to prove something that isn't true, usually that he's not scared. Mom and I have never doubted his devotion to us, and even when away on some remote project, he always calls and never misses a birthday or anniversary. He taught me his secret, but made me swear to never tell anyone that he has all Mom's birthday, anniversaries, and significant holidays set for automatic delivery by his florist. It was actually their suggestion after his many calls and one near miss. The florist even has Sally's number, Dad's secretary, so they can call to make sure Mom is not on a trip herself, and they send him copies of the beautifully written notes they include. Usually Dad is ahead of the game to tell them what to put in the card, but if he gets busy chasing alligators, the florist has his back. Now that plan works for me too. Mom describes themselves as Matthew and Cynthia Connors, the proud parents of a successful son who is carrying on the family business. Dad goes by Matt, but Mom is never called Cindy. She said it gives away telemarketers as they always use nicknames. Dad has recently taken on an advisory role with the corporation as he migrates to retirement. Their health is good and both keep active lives, but 64 candles are showing their burden on Dad's birthday cake. He has earned and is enjoying more time with Mom and now with Anna and me too. Anna tenderly reaches from under my arm, rests her hand on my bicep, and leans into my shoulder. Jason, you okay? As well as Dad taught me how to read people, Anna is better. She knows her husband is sorting things out, and her support is always there for me. I pull her close, kiss her cheek, and say, "It's all right. I was thinking about Mom and Dad and how good it will be to see them again." At times like this, Anna's faith shines. I'm glad they're okay. I was praying for them all the way here from Sitka, but didn't want to bring up something else to worry about that we have no control over. God is good, no matter what, but it's great knowing He's taking care of what we can't. Contact. Most of the day we spend unloading Intrepid, sorting what should stay and what should go with us to camp. By evening, Jim shows us what he calls his ham shack. It is a small den between the master bedroom and guest rooms. The den is made smaller by shelves on 3 walls filled with radios and electronic test equipment. Our power down here in the Baja isn't reliable, but at least it isn't tied to the Western grid. We're on a local power system, and the southernmost point of the Western grid is north of here. When the grid failed, our system was repaired and back up in 2 days. Of course, it goes down about every other week, so we learned to deal with it. All my radios are powered by battery and kept charged by commercial power when available, or by turbine on the roof like yours on Intrepid. We're protected from most storms, but being ready for anything is a way of life in the Baja. When you need it most, the phones will be out. Radio is a good backup and only dependent on the laws of nature and Providence itself. Jim connects an antenna cable and turns on the radio. The blue and orange lights of the radio dials give the room an impressive glow. Listening as he scans a narrow band of frequencies, he says, "I don't think the band is open. We'll have to wait for the sun to go down a bit more. The delayer can dissipate." Anna asks Jim, "What's a delayer?" Jim motions us into the room as he closes the door. On the back of the door is a chart with a representation of Earth, mountains, antennas, and lines going up and down. Jim is in his favorite realm explaining technical things. Radio signals generally travel what we call line of sight. That is, until it bumps into something and stops. Now, long ago, it was discovered that signals were getting further than the horizon by bouncing off layers in the ionosphere. Is that what they call skip? Scott asks. That's what the CB crowd incorrectly calls skip, but I have to explain propagation before I can get to what skip actually is, he says. Most radio signals go in a straight line unless they are obstructed by solid objects. On the surface, the Earth's horizon is about 27 miles away. After that, signals start heading into space. This is called ground wave. And with an antenna on a good tower, you can reach more than about 50 miles. Then there is skywave. These signals reflect off various layers of the ionosphere and come back to Earth, perhaps thousands of miles away. The area between the limits of ground wave and the beginning of skywave is called the skip zone. It's the area that is skipped by traditional radio propagation. Scott seems to light up a bit. So what the CB crowd calls skip is really skywave. Now you got it. Pleased that Scott catches on, Jim continues. Now different frequencies bounce off different layers at different times of the day. The layers change their distance from the Earth as the atmosphere expands and contracts according to the sun's rising and setting. That's the reason a lot of hams stay up late, to catch the reflective layers while they are closer to Earth. Am I going too fast? Anna answers, I'm not catching all of it, but enough to know where you're going. As the atmosphere cools, the layer we need is getting closer, and that's what we want. Jim's face gives way to a puzzled look as he explains further. Sort of and sort of not, but it'll come to you in a minute. Jason, your dad is in a narrow canyon at camp. The mountain walls block radio reception except what comes down to them at a steep angle. Besides that, they are in our skip zone. What we need to do is send our signal straight up, or as close to straight up as we can, and have it bounce off the right layer to come down into that canyon to your dad's receiver. We can do this by what's called near vertical incident skywave, or NVIS. Getting back to Anna's question, there is a layer that forms by the effect of the sun's rays called a D layer. It absorbs radio waves and acts like an obstruction during the day. Only high-angle signals get through, which limits its range. We need to let the sun go down so the D layer will dissipate as the F layer moves closer. So in the end, we're waiting for the atmosphere to collapse so we can use the F layer of the ionosphere for a wide angle and bounce our signal further. It sounds confusing, but in the end, our signal can go farther at night, so we stay up to make contact. We all look confused, but tell Jim that we understand enough to make sense of the need to make radio contact at night. Jim moves back to the radio. Let's try it again. The radio sounds much different. As Jim scans the frequencies, I think we might be able to reach camp. Let's give it a try. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is X-ray Foxtrot 1 Foxtrot. November Foxtrot, CQ, CQ, CQ. Jim waits about 10 seconds and keys the radio again. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is X-ray Foxtrot 1 Foxtrot November Foxtrot. CQ, CQ, CQ. Still there is no reply. As Jim consults a chart, he adjusts the radio to another frequency and sends his call again. This time there is a reply. XF1 FNF, this is Kilo 5 Oscar Sierra India. Do you copy? It's the camp. Roger, K5OSI, I read you loud and clear. Is Matt there? I have someone who I'm sure he would like to speak with very much. Jim hands the mic and I wait for a reply. Jim, this is Matt. Are the kids there? I squeeze the mic and speak. Dad, we're here and we'll be headed your way tomorrow. It's real good to hear your voice. You have no idea how good you sound right now. My voice has a bit of tremor in it, and Dad's reply seems to have the same. Anna is smiling as tears begin to roll. We're fine, son. I'm glad you guys are safe. We're praying for you, Anna and Scott, that you have safe travel. I'm going to give your mom the mic before she comes apart. Love you, son. Jason, this is Mom. I've been worried sick over you and Anna in that little boat. Scott, too. How is Anna? Mom's voice is coming through tears. We're all fine here, Mom. Jim's making things ready for us to get there soon. Anna and Scott are real fine, too. Here's Anna. Hi, Mom. Anna and Mom are as close as Anna is to her real mom, and she never felt right not calling her Mom as well. I'm so glad to hear that you're safe. I've been praying for you every night. Anna's tears are still flowing as I hand her a tissue. Mom's voice is excited and happy. Us too, dear. That is, we've been praying for you three also. And Rita and Jim, I wish I could reach through this speaker and hug your neck. I can hardly wait to see you. Anna wipes her tears again and blows her nose as she hands the mic to Scott. Scott here. I'm feeling out of place, being the only one not bawling on this end. I understand you've made some improvements to the camp. I can hardly wait to see what you've done. Matt here. We've made some major improvements. Wait till you see the place. Was Jim able to lay hands on some 1.5-inch poly pipe? Scott hands the mic to Jim as the conversation turns to the business of supplies and tomorrow's trip. Anna and I go to the veranda as Scott says he has some last-minute packing to do. Rita gives Anna a consoling hug as she hands each of us a hot cup of another amazing tea. The stars dazzle like diamonds on black velvet. A cool breeze carries the gentle fragrance of jasmine from the plants that Rita has everywhere. How can the world be so messed up when this place is so perfect? Even with the rest of the country in shambles, hearing from Mom and Dad and knowing they're okay takes an enormous weight from us. Anna cuddles in my arms on the wicker lounge we have claimed to be our own for a time. Jason, I remember the first time you took me to meet your parents. I was really nervous. That was at the company picnic, wasn't it, I say? Yes, it was. But you only told me it was a picnic. You said nothing about it being a company-wide picnic. I was expecting a small, quiet family gathering. I'm almost laughing as I recall the details as Anna continues to tell it. It was at Lazy Acres near Tomball. And when we got there, excuse me, the place was packed with people. You and I were holding a picnic basket between us. And when I saw the crowd, I asked you how we were going to find your family among all those people. I finished the story for her. And I said, "That is my family." The look on your face was priceless. I only wish I had a camera to catch your expression. Softly punching me in the gut, Anna continues, but with a big grin. "You were so mean." Anna turns and cuddles back into my arms. "But that was when I first met your mom. She and your dad came to meet us, and I'll never forget what she said. 'Hello, you must be Anna. I'm Cynthia, and this is my best friend Matt. Welcome.' Then she held my hand and walked us to their picnic table, and I've had a second mom ever since. It's always been special to me that your parents see themselves as best friends first, and their marriage follows. That's never left me. Mom and Dad have always been real close. I guess I grew up thinking every family was that way. At least it's the way they ought to be." Anna looks at me, patting the arm of the lounge chair. "You know, we need to get us one of these." I bust out laughing. "You are amazing." Flight. Jim has probably not slept as he tends final preparation for a pre-dawn flight across the border into Texas. With fuel tanks topped off, it gives Jim a margin of nearly 500 air miles for the round trip. There is no airport fuel truck there. He has to bring it all. Pegasus has a dedicated cargo bay, and in it is a Polaris Diesel Ranger ATV. Stuffed into the back of the passenger cabin is an ATV cargo trailer that increases load hauling by 1,500 pounds. Finally, supplies are packed in the space remaining, including several rolls of black poly pipe. There are only 2 passenger seats left without cargo stacked in them, and the net holding it down. Jim drives back to pick us up for the short trip to the airport. Rita is not going, but has packed a lunch basket for us and another for Jim. Rita takes Anna aside as she places her in her arms a soft bundle in brown paper tied with string. "This is a special package I would like for you to give Cynthia. It is a gift from me." There is a sincerity and fullness in Rita's eyes that imparts a unique quality to this gift, and Anna will guard it well. Hugs are shared as darkness is challenged by the faintest hint of sunlight on the horizon. Scott is pleased that all but 2 passenger seats are filled. His will be the co-pilots. Pegasus is a dream to ride, but the view from up front is beyond words. We taxi to the end of the runway, and with a quick radio authorization, engines spool up and Pegasus takes flight. "Jim, this is really cool. I've never been in Pegasus's jump seat. How long is it to camp?" "Well, Scott, that all depends on how things go. If we're lucky, we'll be there in just over 2 hours. If not, it could get interesting." Jim's voice implies this is not going to be a routine flight. Scott's voice lowers as he turns to Jim. "What does interesting mean?" Jim has a sly grin. "Since the border closed and relations sort of fell apart, if you will, getting from here to there became a process of, let's say, discretion." Jim is trying to be subtle, but is enjoying Scott's apprehension. "Discretion? I'm assuming we're jumping the border without a flight plan or clearance. Won't the authorities of involved governments take this rather personal?" Now Scott is being subtle. "Oh, it's not like these aren't our countries anyway. Governments are supposed to be working for us, aren't they? And I don't plan on causing them any excitement by letting them know we're there. Remember, I told you the border security wasn't strong around Big Bend." Scott just nods to respond. "Well, that goes for U.S. radar as well. Our transponder range is only about 110 miles. The nearest commercial airport to pick us up is much farther than that, and the radar around the border is scattered by mountains. If we cross real low, they won't even know we're there. There's also a good chance U.S. civil radar is still offline, and the military is probably looking for something bigger than a single low-flying corporate jet." Scott is squirming. "Jim, you just took the fun right out of this trip. What are our chances of getting in and you out without incident?" "This is not my first rodeo, Scott. This supply mission is a milk run. We'll drop off the radar right over a small airstrip here in Mexico that's just long enough for us to land. But instead of landing, we'll make like I'm going around for another attempt, then turn north to JF. Easy squeezy." Jim is like a kid with a new toy. He is enjoying every minute of this kind of flying, JF is an unmarked airstrip that isn't on the maps anymore. It's so well concealed that if you don't know it's there, you can't even see it from the air. It will look like we're just landing in a field. When we land, we'll have to unload fast and leave quick. I can't stick around to help you get set up for the drive to camp. I briefed Jason already. Maps, compass, and landmark pictures are in a roll strapped to the ceiling of the Ranger's roof. Radar isn't going to pick us up, but locals will know we're here. Pegasus is too big of a target to let her sit still too long. Target? Now Scott is really uncomfortable. Jim begins his approach to the decoy airstrip, and as he drops below radar detection, he turns north, as he said. Scott is wide-eyed and has forgotten what he thought about the co-pilot seat being really cool. Jim is truly a great pilot, but the hills are close enough for a burro's ears to wipe the belly of the plane. You can't tell when we actually cross the border, but it seems a short time before Jim makes a low pass to check the airstrip. Then landing gear comes down and Pegasus is braking to a stop. Jim keeps the engines at idle as the doors all open. Anna and I begin unloading boxes and bundles as Jim and Scott unload the Ranger and its trailer. Scott, tools to put the wheels back on the trailer are in the box in the front of the trailer. With Jim's help, the Ranger is unloaded in record time. It's obvious Jim has done this before. There's tie straps in the toolbox, too. God bless you guys. Give my love to your folks, Jason. With a quick round of handshakes for the guys and a hug and a kiss on the cheek for Anna, Jim says his goodbyes and warns them to stay clear of the exhaust. Doors close and Jim is taxiing back to the end of the runway. We move any remaining supplies off the side of the runway as Jim and Pegasus come toward us, fast. Pegasus lifts off quickly without her cargo. And in no time, we are alone on a grass strip in the middle of nowhere. It is very quiet. The world looks deceptively calm as I contemplate the change our lives have taken and how the nation has changed. To start with, we just had to sneak into our own country. Violence, hunger, and disease rage in cities across the land. Yet this spot is quiet. I can see why Old West outlaws came here. It is isolated and almost beautiful, but one wrong move and it can become an unmarked grave that no one will ever find. Anna is my greatest treasure on earth, and Scott is my best friend. Anna trusts me to provide for and protect her, but the thought of failing her lays heavy on my mind. Now here in this field, I feel vulnerable and powerless to protect either of them. In this deceptively peaceful place, the mercy of God is our only hope. This is where fear and faith meet together. I break the silence. Let's get this rig together and packed. No doubt we didn't get here unnoticed. The trailer wheels mount easily, and packing is simplified by Anna's gift for arrangement. Scott says the stacked rolls of poly pipe on the roof make the Ranger look like an antique refrigerator. As we start to laugh, Anna says just one word, dust. She points in the direction of what certainly is an approaching vehicle. There isn't enough time to run, and if we try, our own dust trail will be equally obvious and easy to follow. I don't want to lead anyone to camp. If these are unfriendly, I just have time to unzip the bag I carried from Intrepid, slide a magazine into the 308, and release the bolt. I am prepared to talk nice, but I'll keep a big stick handy. And we will pick up that again tomorrow.